Hi, welcome to the Crypto Republic. Before we begin today, if you're serious about staying ahead in this once-in-a-lifetime financial shift, make sure you like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Republic. Hello, XRP Army, and welcome back to the Crypto Republic, your go-to channel for the latest high-energy updates in digital assets. Before we get started with today's business, make sure to smash that like button, ring that bell, and subscribe to the Crypto Republic, bringing you updates every day at 9 a.m., noon, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What if I told you that while everyone is watching the daily price charts, the real story, the game-changing story, is happening right now behind the scenes? We're talking about quiet, massive moves by players you don't normally see. This isn't just another crypto story. This is a signal, a massive flare in the sky that suggests the financial landscape for XRP could be shifting right under our feet. Stay with me, because what I'm about to break down involves a brand new spot XRP ETF, unusual volume spikes that have analysts buzzing, and a theory about how Wall Street market makers could be positioning themselves for something big. You're not going to want to miss this. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Here at the Crypto Republic, we dive deep into the world of digital assets, cutting through the noise to find the signals that truly matter. And today, we've got a signal that's flashing bright red. So do me a favor, right now, smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, because you're going to want to stay with me and stay updated on how this story unfolds. Okay, let's break it down, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's set the stage. On November 13th, something pretty historic happened. The Canary Capital XRP ETF ticker, XRPC. Now, this is significant because it's the first pure spot XRP ETF in the U.S. market. And its debut wasn't just a quiet launch. It was a boom. On its first day, we saw XRPC staggering $245 million in inflows. The trading volume was over $59 million. To put that in perspective, it even edged out Bitwise's Solana ETF in its initial performance, ladies and gentlemen. This wasn't just a small win. It was a massive statement of interest from the market. But here's where it gets really interesting. The story doesn't stop with a successful launch day. That was just the beginning. A well-known analyst in the XRP community, Chad Steingraber, started tracking XRPC's daily movement like a hawk, and he noticed something odd. He pointed out that these sudden massive spikes in trading volume happen at very specific times. For example, at the market open on Monday, he flagged a buy volume spike of over 84,000 shares in a single moment. Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. At the price then, that was a $2.1 million move. A few moments later, that volume had jumped to over 103,000 shares, worth $2.5 million. Think about that. This isn't slow, steady buying. These are huge, concentrated bursts of activity. Steingraber even noticed and noted that in the first hour of trading that day, the ETF saw over 300,000 shares traded, value at nearly $7.5 million. The fund ended that day with a total volume of around $20 million. These aren't just numbers on a screen, ladies and gentlemen. This is a significant capital flowing into an XRP-backed product. And it led one observer to ask a very smart question. Why do these volume spikes on the ETF chart seem to line up with similar surges on XRP's own chart on exchanges like Coinbase? Is that normal? Well, that's the multi-million-dollar question, folks, isn't it? And Steingraber's theory is where this whole thing goes from interesting to absolutely fascinating. Okay, so to understand what might be happening, we need to talk about a part of the financial world most people never see: the over-the-counter, OTC market. Imagine you're a huge institution, like a pension fund or a massive ETF provider, and you need to buy a ton of an asset, let's say 50 million XRP. If you go onto a regular exchange and place that order, you'd cause the price to skyrocket instantly. Your own purchase would drive up your cost. That's called slippage, and it's a huge problem for big players. So what do they do then? They go to an OTC market maker. These are firms that act as middlemen. The institutions buy the XRP directly from the market maker in a private deal, away from the public exchange, so the price isn't immediately affected. Now, back to XRP. Steingraber's hypothesis is this. These OTC market makers, the ones who will eventually be providing liquidity for these big ETFs, might be the ones behind these volume spikes. He suggests they are quietly, rapidly buying up XRP right now from the open market. Why, you might ask, ladies and gentlemen? To front-run the massive demand they anticipate from the ETFs. They need to have a huge stockpile of XRP ready to go. Think about it from their perspective. They don't want to be caught flat-footed here. If they wait until a massive ETF order comes in, they'll be forced to buy XRP at a much higher price. And that difference, that price gap, could cost them millions of dollars. So according to this theory, they are accumulating their inventory now in these sharp, sudden bursts to get ahead of the wave. It's a brilliant, logical explanation for these coordinated spikes we're seeing on both the ETF and the XRP charts. It suggests that the institutional players are already making their moves. Now, it's important to look at this with a critical eye. Total trading volume included both buys and sells, so we can't be 100% certain that these spikes are only from buy orders. That's a fair counterpoint. But the trend is undeniable. Data from other sources like SosoValve confirms that XRPC has been consistently seeing millions in daily inflows, bucking the bearish trend we've seen in other parts of the market. So what does this all point to? It suggests a maturation of the market for XRP. It points to the construction of a deep, liquid, and robust financial infrastructure around the asset. When you combine this with everything else we know about XRP, its established utility in cross-border payments, its fundamentals, and its liquidity, you start to see a bigger picture. The conversation is no longer just about retail interest. It's about the bedrock of the financial system, the market makers, the ETFs, the institutions, building the plumbing for a new era. Some analysts look at this infrastructure and believe it's only a matter of time before the value of the network reflects its utility. They see the potential for XRP to play a significant role in the future of finance, and some have made projections of price reaching levels of $10, $20, or even $50 based on these fundamentals. This is not about hype. This is about observing the foundational layers being built piece by piece, brick by brick, right in front of us. Always remember to do your own research and see if you come to the similar conclusions. Look, what we're witnessing is a masterclass in market dynamics. This is the kind of subtle, behind-the-curtains action that often precedes major market shifts. And now you know what to look for. I want you to know what you think. I want to know what you think. Do you believe this theory about OTC market makers? Are you seeing other signals that we should be talking about? Let me know in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going. And if you got any value from this breakdown, please destroy that like button and make sure you subscribe with notifications on. We're going to be tracking the flow of institutional money into this space. And you won't want to miss our next update on this continuing piece. So to wrap it all up, a new spot XRP ETF is making waves. Unusual volume spikes suggest a deeper story, and a compelling theory points to quiet accumulation by the very market makers who grease the wheels of finance. This is more than just a price chart. It's a story about infrastructure, about adoption, and about the silent, powerful currents of capital that are shaping the future of digital assets. Keep your eyes open, be curious, and never stop learning. This content is for informational entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions. Remember, the game is changing, and those who understand it first will benefit most. Make sure you're on the right side of it. You have two choices. You can be like the crowd, reacting after the move, rationalizing why they missed it, telling themselves they'll never let it happen again, or you can be the one who saw behind the curtain, the one who understood the infrastructure shift, the one who positioned early not randomly, but intentionally. Because some moments in history are loud, but the ones that change everything are quiet, right up until the moment they're not. And this is one of those moments, ladies and gentlemen. Do not blink, because the world is distracting you with noise, while XRP continues developing behind the scenes and building momentum in the broader digital asset landscape. Stay sharp, stay informed, accumulate knowledge. Your move now will be remembered. This is not the end of the story. This is just the beginning. This opened your eyes. Smash that like button, ring the bell, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Turn on notifications, and most importantly, subscribe to the Crypto Republic. We break down the major global banking trends shaping digital assets today, giving you context, clarity, and research you can use. Don't just watch history happen. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay in the Republic.